Coming up today on JBYC, what is a condiment anyway?
I'm a soy boy.
South Carolina's barbecue comes in 4 types, and that's kind of unique. And also, barbecue sauce is definitely a condiment.
All that and more on today's episode of JBYC.
Jalapeno barbecue yellow chutney.
What's going on? It's Ice-T. My man Ryan is having a wedding, okay? And he's chosen you to be his groomsmen. You
okay,
are
control
very
yourself.
important to Ryan. And it's your job to make him have a crazy bachelor party, okay? I'm talking about a real bash. But do not up his wedding, all right?
Sounds like a
Don't go
mission on
too
a weird
far,
video
you
game.
and handle that business, okay? Don't it up.
Are you bad enough dudes to save my bachelor party?
Hey everyone, it is Monday, August 26, 2019. I'm Bobby Frankenberger, and you're listening to episode 20 of JBYC.
It's a quattriversary, isn't it?
That's not what?
We're doing that every four episodes.
This is the show where 3 people have been friends for longer than any of us care to remember get together and talk about what's been on our minds the past week. Every week we have a topic or a theme. This week's theme is condiments. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host to get right to it. First up is Ryan. How's it going, Ryan?
Okay, I'm overwhelmed. There's lots of stuff going on. But like I said earlier, you have children and you're not overwhelmed. So I guess I'm just being a baby. Hello.
You are not being a baby.
Well, I mean, you're having a bachelor party, so
I mean,
pretty big.
I just learned about that too. This is another thing to worry about. So.
That's right, and watch out. Ice-T's got your back, don't worry. He definitely does. The other one there, that is our co-host as well. I swear
These
I
get worse every week.
You really are a good friend, okay?
All right. You make it
is
worse.
The Edge, American Johnson. How's it going?
Pretty good. I mean, I don't know why, but for some reason the cadence of Ice-T in that intro really did sound like a video game voice
That's
actor.
what I
You know,
thought.
like I don't know why, but it's just so.
Yo, your boy Ice-T here.
I can see the NPC character like you know, like how when they're talking they go back and forth just like in this like cyclical pattern.
Yeah. Do not.
You know what I mean?
Do not put this up. You are gonna.
Yeah, right.
Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to get out there and make him have a badass bachelor party.
Yeah, but see, that's the reading. Like, you're reading it more like actually hamming it up. I think that it sounds like a video game because he's just reading a script for
More
money.
monotone. Yeah, exactly.
So where that really came from, that intro, where it really came from is, and I want to give credit to another podcast that I listened to because I don't want it to sound like this was totally my find and my idea to mine this for stuff. But I listened to a podcast called Night Attack with it's a great comedy podcast. But anyway, they introduced me to this service online called Cameo, and what it is, it's all these celebrities, and you pay for them. You pay for them to do a shout out to you or a friend or something like that.
Right.
And it could be like a happy birthday shout out or a anniversary shout out or something like that, just the person's favorite celebrity, and it is. Like, when I went and started, I was just going on there to check out some of the funny ones because they played some on there. But I realized that this is like a gold mine for soundboard clips. There's so many. I had to stop earlier. Ryan was on Discord while I was doing it. And
He scared me. He shared it, and I clicked a random person, and it said $30. And I'm like, I'm going back to Discord.
$30 is cheap too. Ice-T is $350.
I don't care what like it was the price tag at all. I was like, oh, and also, yeah, I didn't know it went that high.
How much would I pay for Ice-T to read something to me?
$300. He just told you what the price was.
Yeah,
no, I
you
mean,
would pay
no,
for it.
I'm saying that's the supply side. I'm
Yes.
talking demand.
Like, what is your?
How much would I
What
pay?
is your price point? Is what you mean?
I think I'd pay
But what
$20.
you mean is what you would be willing to pay and then not get him. Yeah.
I might pay more than $20, but not much more.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
More
who
than
I would
that.
pay is there anybody I would pay $350 for? And I can't think of anybody. I mean, you know, there might be something
Patrick
like maybe
Stewart?
like getting Jordan Peterson to say something embarrassing.
Okay.
Gilbert Gottfried's
might
on
pay-
there. You can get him for 150.
That's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think Gilbert Godfrey. See, this is why
No.
capitalism, supply and demand economics are such bullshit, because
No
It's
one
got to be
remembers
the
him.
case that there's more demand for. Yeah, but he's got the voice.
Yeah, but people don't
And I mean,
know
like,
he has the voice.
Not. Can you use it for commercial purposes?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. We just did,
Probably
I
not.
guess. Not really, because we
no,
don't
we
make any
definitely did
money.
not.
Um,
You ain't making a dime.
yeah. But
Your alpha spike's going insane.
yeah, I know.
Like it's way up there.
Podcast listeners can't see that I have like
His hair is like
a
trying
lock
the
of
Super
hair.
Saiyan.
Yeah, a lock of hair that is shooting straight up. I got a couple of other caps, but they're all Gary Busey.
Okay.
Why?
Because
You want to run one by us?
because it's like you listen to one of them and there's a ton of. Here's one.
Oh, we should make a video game where all the dialogue we just have to mine from Cameo.
That
So like
would
every
be a
mission
great
has to be
idea.
based. So what will this mission be? Like play the Gary Busey mission.
All right, here we go. Why are you asking
I'm
me what
scared
to
it's gonna be loud.
play? All right, play this.
That's what your team wants out of you. If you guys can't be a team, you want a team, so have a team. You already have a team, just realize it and make everybody feel like they're your best friend. And that's how you do that. God bless
I
you.
hate this.
Keep it up, keep it going. Yay.
Gary Busey, when did he become a
Old white
AFC
guy?
or
A long time ago.
when did he become a college football coach?
It's a little bit college football coach, yeah.
That's what that
Not
sounded
enough
like.
talking about eating grass and stuff.
I
but
want to
yeah.
hear him in the post game interview, like, well, they just had a better offense and we didn't have a good enough defense, and
Yeah.
their defense was real good and our offense wasn't very good. Like,
And this is what he says when he's done with the interview. He says this.
Hey, thank you. Love you.
was that a what? What was the request for that? How do you request that? I don't know how I would possibly like. How do you transliterate
I hate
that?
it.
How do you spell that?
I don't know, but here's another one.
This is Gary Busey, your brand new friend.
I like that one.
I'm officially friends with Gary Busey now.
It is.
And we'll
This
be
is
friends
weird.
The magic.
forever.
Okay, give me a random one. Like, can you just go to the site and just pick one
Yeah,
at
okay,
random?
I'll give you a name. Let's look. There's Ernie
The
Hudson.
creepiest thing
Ernie
about-
Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, yeah, perfect, yeah.
Let's see what Ernie Hudson does. Most of these are actually kind of like, most people are probably like, let's see what he is here.
Happy birthday, Paul. This is Ernie Hudson, Winston Zeddemore from Ghostbusters. I want to wish
He
you
has a good
happy
voice.
birthday and wish you many, 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 many more. Now understand, this is your 40th birthday.
Yeah, see, it goes on.
But he
They
actually
had to
sounds
put
like he
that in
cares.
because he wanted to prove that like he actually paid the money for it and he didn't just go find a happy birthday for somebody else.
Yeah.
I
He'd be
mean,
like,
yeah.
I
Someone
understand
bought
this is
that
your
for him.
40th birthday. I know that you drive a red Buick LeSabre. I know that your wife's name is Laverne. I don't know.
There
I'm
a
just
lot of them are like that. That's what most of them are like. They have like weird, oddly specific details.
I mean, I would
It's
do
kind of
that.
like proof of life. It's like a hostage proof of life.
Like, you pay me $20, I'll say something stupid for you. Yeah.
It would always be like, hey Charlie, this is Bobby, and I heard it's your birthday, and I know that you've got a friend Frank who just bought you some Skittles the last time you went to the grocery store, and I think he's a really good friend for
just
buying
like-
you those Skittles.
He really knows
It's just
me.
like a hostage situation. It's like I have not been harmed.
Yeah.
Today is August 27th, 2019.
And I know your favorite flavor of Mountain Dew is Code Red.
The headline on USA Today is that President Trump and Macron are speaking in a meeting ahead of G7.
Yeah, right.
Please help. Please help me.
Yeah.
I have not been armed,
only,
but-
like, I can't even process it that way. I'm just like, I would do this in a heartbeat. Give me money to say 1 minute long lines.
All right,
Perfect.
we're setting up Ryan a Cameo account. That's going to be our next project, the next JBYC.
How
project.
high do you
Instead of a
think,
celebrity, you want a stranger? Got you.
how
We'll be the
high
bargain
do you
basement.
think that the Edge could charge on Cameo?
Upwards
Like,
of
from
$1.50,
you to the
I would
Edge?
imagine.
Yeah, this Edge, our
Oh,
very
I'm like
own the Edge.
I
10.
feel like the penny stocks of Cameo. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing like 10, 15 at best. He's doing 10, 15.
But
yeah.
your odd specifics wouldn't be like you wouldn't be saying odd specifics about the friend. You'd be giving odd specifics about yourself to prove that you're worth the money that someone spent on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You'd be like,
I'm
hi,
35 years old.
yeah, I'm
Ring that bell.
had a
Get another.
production company in college.
It's like my resume.
Yeah.
I'll just read my resume.
It really is impressive
no.
that your friend spent $10 on this.
I'll have to do
Subscribe
like
to my profile. I'll give you one for free.
Here's Norm Macdonald. How much do you think Norm Macdonald goes for?
175.
I'll split the difference between. I'll say like 225 split between
$375.
Whoa!
Damn,
Which
son.
is up there. Most of these are not.
Norm
that high.
Macdonald beat Ice-T.
Yeah, by $25.
I would pay more for Ice-T than Norm Macdonald. I mean,
Now,
I love Norm Macdonald.
They set the money though. Okay, it's not a market. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, the
but
market
Bobby,
forces are.
you know,
also
supply and
people
demand is the perfect system that invisibly hand guides the world
Right.
to prosperity.
Here's Norm. Let's see what he's got.
Hey, Norm MacDonald here. How would you like to be a groomsman? Yes, that.
Have I told you guys that Norm Macdonald's like one of my favorite comedians? He's really good.
That's
He's really
right.
funny.
A groomsman.
His podcast is really good.
I am offering you that choice. I shouldn't just say that I am.
Okay, here's my strategy for Cameo. I'm gonna start like a moonshot account, and I'm just gonna make it like $1,000, and just hope that somebody like clicks the wrong button or is just doing this drunk one night or something, and like accidentally orders my services.
Yeah, the mind of
You know, that's
Thermite
probably the best chance.
said they don't seems to not like Norm Macdonald. Is there something I missed about Norm Macdonald,
I don't know.
or maybe they just don't like him?
I mean, I think that Norm Macdonald might have made some off-color jokes. You know, I mean,
I'm
he's got a
sure
very,
he
very
has.
long career.
100%. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what Norm Macdonald's up to, but he's just. I would imagine that at some point he said something that's like really shitty.
He's not.
But no, the mind of
Miller.
Thermite just says not a fan.
Just not a
That
fan.
like became like Dennis Miller. Dennis Miller is the one I think of when it's like, oh, you used to be okay, and then you became a crazy person.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had
yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah.
He's the one that had the conservative talk show on Fox, right?
I don't know if it was on Fox or something, but yeah, like he went from good comedy, or maybe good comedy, I don't remember, but comedy to NFL announcer that was supposed to be heady and like educated and like used the big words to weird Fox guy. Yeah.
Well, he's like classical liberal conservative, though, right? So he had this. I think he had this show on Fox that was like a conservative comedy talk show.
That sounds exactly what
There
would
was
be, yeah.
one bit. There was one bit that I thought was pretty funny though in that show, which was that, like, I don't know. This might actually be animal cruelty. I don't know. Maybe not. But they just had a monkey.
Oh wait, I can't.
They had a
wait.
monkey that was just free in the studio, and they didn't like supervise it at all.
That's
And
weird.
so like it just introduced this element of chaos where sometimes they'd be
That's-
interviewing like a Nobel Prize laureate or something, and this monkey would just like run across this.
What?
That's pretty funny. That sounds like a. Have you seen Norm Macdonald's Netflix show?
Mhm.
That sounds
No.
like something he'd do on his show. His Netflix show is so. It's just him interviewing celebrities, right? And they have
Usually his friends.
Well, yeah, it's like the pilot episode was David Spade, and
Right.
but there's some like they're usually comedians, but there are celebrities on there that are not comedians, and it's very much it either it is totally unplanned and unscripted and no prep, or they do an excellent job of selling it that way, because it is so uncomfortable and hilarious to watch, because like he's just telling these terrible like Norm Macdonald style like uncomfortable jokes and falling flat all the time, but also like the guests are always really kind of halfway annoyed with him and wondering why they're there, and
Yeah, it's his total shtick.
and there's no studio audience, right? There's no audience at this talk show. It's set up like it's
Inside, no,
It's in a
like it's a
studio,
late night
has
show.
audience.
It's a studio and
between two
everything.
ferns.
No, it's
Kind of,
it's
yeah.
set up. Yeah, well, okay, so sort of, but it looks like it should be like the Tonight Show or something like that. Like it's set up in that way, but
Mm-hmm.
there's no live studio audience. There's just his crew laughing in the background. And
right.
it's really interesting, really fun. You should check it out if you have not.
I'll have to check it out.
Okay.
I will check it out.
Before
That's enough
Condiments-
plugging other podcast.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, you should
yeah.
check
We've just plugged like 2 better podcasts so far.
Yeah. I'm going to
That's
plug
good to
another podcast, speaking of, that is coming up.
Cool.
So I just found out some really exciting news. A little while ago, I hadn't told anybody or very many people because I'm superstitious. We should have talked about this last time because I'm superstitious about it.
Another crack revealed in the facade of scientific skepticism.
Yeah. So there's this show. It's a reality podcasting competition podcast that's run by some podcasting Hall of Fame podcasters and some judged by some big names in podcasting, and it's called America's Next Top Podcaster, and I applied for it, and they picked 12 contestants, and I made it. I'm in. So
It's all that haircut, thanks to the alpha spike.
Yeah, it was the alpha spike for sure. But I'm very excited about it. It's going to be a lot of really hard work. It starts on September 9th. We start recording on September 9th, and it's like 13 grueling weeks of weekly podcasting challenges. You produce a podcast on a team for 13 weeks. It's set up like it feels very much like because this is the second season and I listened to the first season. I was gonna apply for the first season, but I sort of like imposter syndrome talked myself out of it, and so I applied for this one, got in. And it very much has the feel of like Great British Bake Off or like Next Food Network.
Do they eliminate
star.
people every week?
Yes, someone gets.
So it might not be 13 weeks.
Yeah, it might not.
You're in a little cocky there.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it all 13 weeks. No, it's
Do you get paid? Do you get paid, or are they just exploiting the shit out of you?
They're exploiting us for sure. But no, if you win. Yeah. you get a podcast hosted on their network for a year, which they have.
Do they pay you for that?
I don't know what part of that happens. So
you didn't read the contract?
No, I don't. I'd let my lawyer handle all of that.
Bob, you got to let me
I'd
manage
let my
you.
agent handle all that.
you need a new agent. I'm for hire. They're paying you an exposure, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's exposure is the
like
best,
a true
the
artist.
best way to pay an artist, right? That's what they always tell me.
Well,
that's what I tell all the graphic artists that design my my artwork.
Oh my god.
So anyway, the point is, you should check. It's super exciting. I'm very excited about it. It's called America's Next Top Podcaster. You can find it wherever. You can listen to season 1 if you want to, or just listen to Season Matters, the one that I'm going to be on.
Damn.
And then
when did the actual episodes start rolling out? Do they package them together immediately?
I think they're on a 2-week delay.
Okay. Does that mean you'll have a gag order? Like you're not allowed to talk about?
Yeah, I won't be allowed to talk about.
Already broke it.
Yeah.
No.
Break it. They're not paying you. Give the scoop. Somebody like I don't know. There's got to be some shitty podcasting tabloid out there, right? Keemstar would probably pay you a few bucks for the inside scoop.
The people that are running this are people that I like. And I'm fans of the stuff that they do. I'd rather not, you know.
You gotta learn how to screw people over, Bob, in this capitalist world.
Yeah, well, I'm not a good capitalist. I will admit to that. I'm a bad capitalist.
Well, that was.
You're on the
first
show
test,
and I'm
Bob.
taking advantage of you, so you're probably an okay capitalist.
That's fair. Yeah, so check it out. I want you to check it out. I'll be talking more about it, I'm sure. I'll talk vaguely about my experiences on it, and in a way that you don't know if I've been voted off yet or not.
Show up crying to the podcast. It's okay, guys. I'm still playing.
Another reason that I bring it up, though, is that for our listeners, it's supposed to be really intensive, grueling work. And when we do the judging episode recordings, the judging recordings are going to be on Monday nights, earlier than this. But the first week that we do it, we're going to take that week off, September 9th. We're not going to have a show that week because I don't know what to expect. I'll have a better idea after that. And just know that it's possible over the course of those weeks, if I stay in it, that we might have more like weirdness with scheduling or stuff like that than usual. Just bear with me. I'm trying to be exploited to get my dreams fulfilled. So
yes.
Cool.
all right, let's move on to talk about some condiments.
Dang it, Bobby, that's exactly
Actual
what we
congratulations,
don't want.
though, since we both kind of deadpanned you.
Yeah, it's okay. You guys had heard and congratulated me already, but thank you. Yes, I'm super excited about it. If you can't tell,
I legit thought he should have a clap soundboard for this, and then that was all I contributed in my head to the conversation out
and
loud.
then you were like, "Oh wait, I could have done that."
And then it was already done. It was gone.
Right.
So
well, thank you very much.
then it brought it back up after your bump.
Yeah.
So what kind of condiments will you be eating with your victory on the side?
Yeah, I eat my victory with relish. So
Yeah, will you? Oh, that's better. If you catch up to the competition, will you relish the victory?
I must.
You must arduously compete.
So what
Do you
exactly
guys
is a
know
condiment?
what?
We're talking about condiments tonight. What exactly is a condiment? I want to
wanna
hear
talk
what
about
you
salad.
guys. What do you guys? Don't give me a logical definition. I really want to know what from your heart. What does it feel like a condiment is?
Well, I think the first thing I wanted to try to figure out when I read your show notes was like, is a condiment a side? It's not a side, right?
No.
No, you
So
might
it's a-
be thinking of like a garnish.
Here's my definition, and we can workshop it if it's inaccurate. But my definition is a condiment is any flavoring, seasoning, or additional substance that diners may optionally add at their own discretion at the table. Oh, but then no, that's not true because salt and pepper I would
though.
say are not
Yeah.
condiments arbitrarily.
Ah, interesting.
It's pretty
because
arbitrary,
some
though.
people would consider salt and pepper a
Well,
condiment.
they're wrong.
This is where
Why though?
The
Ryan, if you
Because-
want to say something, you have to back it up with facts.
I know.
And
I had to leave a pregnant
Facts don't
pause
care
though
about your
before I back it
feelings.
up. Shut up and let me back it up.
Whoa.
I had a song to play right then,
Whoa.
but I don't.
You don't even have an alpha spike, and I feel very baited right now.
I gotta have something
I
to
think
play there. Yeah, I don't-
You're there, except that it's a liquid of some sort.
it's
the
a liquid.
condiment.
A condiment has to be a liquid. You say?
Yeah, maybe not completely like liquid or viscous or whatever, but it has to have a liquid component.
Wait, slow down. Let's stop the show for a minute.
Are you gonna
The
double
mind of
back me
thermite
up?
is the mind of thermite in the comments is just like constantly negging everything that we talk about.
Let's see.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
We talk about Norm Macdonald. The mind of thermite's like, I don't like Norm Macdonald. We talk about what is a condiment.
I've
The mind of
always
thermite's
hated
like,
this question.
I hate this question.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we did
okay,
the sandwich
okay. The mind
question
of
too,
thermite.
so-
What would you like the podcast to be about today? How about you?
Oh, I can talk about something else
We
now?
should just rename the
Okay,
show.
I have a
Only talk about things the mind of thermite likes.
Let's just
I have a
call it
salad.
the mind
I have
of
a salad quiz for you guys. I have a salad quiz. Okay.
Okay, fine.
So you can both guess once, unless like and just whoever knows it first, go ahead and say it.
Okay.
What's rocket? What's rocket salad? It's one of our vegetables that said it's called something else different in the
Oh, I know
UK.
what you're
It's
talking
called
about.
rocket salad.
I know that
Rocket
annoys me
salad.
because every time I see it, I think it's so much cooler than it is.
Wait,
it's
wait.
just
So
like
there's a vegetable we have that in the UK.
You have a
they
name.
call
You
it-
know the name of it.
Is it?
It's not
is
called
it some kind of? It's some kind of lettuce. It's like
Mhm.
romaine lettuce or something.
that. Mm-mm.
Or
romaine
Mm-mm.
lettuce does look like kind of like a rocket.
oh, I know
Arugula.
what it is because
Arugula.
they use that word in
It's
Vietnam.
arugula?
Right.
Yeah.
Why?
Arugula is a
It's spicy.
I
I
don't know
guess.
why. I couldn't fucking tell you why.
It's got a.
It's probably-
got a peppery flavor.
It's the first salad we ate on the moon.
You think salad would be
In the
terrible?
rocket to the moon, jerk.
Like, not just eating it in space, but on the moon.
On the tarmac, and then he tossed it out before they closed the door.
They had like the lettuce in the spacesuit helmet with the dressing, and it was like a you know, like those McDonald's
Hamster?
salad
Like a hamster?
shakes.
It's like-
He just like would shake his head and then just mix it all up, and then he ate it.
So what is a condiment?
Oh,
Um,
I think to answer this question, all we have to do is figure out why salt and pepper are not condiments.
Because they're not liquid.
No, because
Spices are not
Oh.
liquids.
So the
okay, so here
the the logical way to tease through this is to figure out a thing that you would call a condiment that breaks that rule, right? So
Yeah.
Is cheese a condiment? Would you call cheese a condiment?
No.
What
it's
if
not.
so? But is cheese?
An
What if
ingredient.
it's
nacho
ground
a
cheese on the
condiment?
side that you can?
No, I don't think nacho cheese
a
is
dip.
either.
Because you don't add it to the. You don't
Just like
generally
pimento
pour it on
cheese
top
isn't
of
either,
something.
even though it's a dip. Also, it's
Right.
pimento cheese.
I would agree with you about
ingredient.
nacho cheese. Nacho cheese is a sauce. It's a cheese sauce.
All right. So here's the question. Okay. So let me okay. I wanted to talk
Break
about this.
down
and
my
this will help
wall.
us. Vietnam, I think, leads the world from my experiences in condiments, because when you eat a Vietnamese meal, they have a whole spread of stuff you can add.
Okay.
They'll have like, okay, and I would consider these condiments probably. They will have like, okay, probably 3 or 4 different kinds of chili
So
sauce.
sure of yourself.
So they'll have like dried chili you can add. They'll have like a saute. They'll have like this garlicky, ketchupy chili sauce. Okay, they'll have pickled garlic. They'll have fresh garlic. They'll have, they'll give you this like it's like salt and pepper, and you can like and you squeeze a lime, and there's some chilies in there. So let's start with
Liquid,
that. Okay.
yeah.
Well, okay. So what they give you is this a condiment? They'll give you a little like ramekin, and in the little ramekin is like a bunch of salt and pepper and some chili, some dried cut chilies, and a lime, and you like squeeze the lime into that, and you mix it up.
Yeah, and then
make
you
this, like,
use
salt,
the
pepper, lime
resultant
thing.
liquid to pour onto your bun or whatever.
No, you don't pour it on. You dip it into it. So is that a condiment or a dip?
I mean, I think it's like something you can use in both ways. It's dip, though, it sounds like.
Is ketchup
But if I
a
wanted to
condiment
pour
or
it
a
on,
dip?
I think
Like,
I would
ketchup
call
is
it a
definitely
condiment.
a condiment. Ketchup is definitely a condiment, but you definitely, unless you're a barbarian who puts
think
their
it's both.
ketchup directly on their fries,
Yeah, what kind of
you dip it.
dickhead does that?
Is it you, Bobby?
No, I really get angry when I'm like, you know how you get French fries to share, and someone
the last
time you
pours the
shared French
ketchup
fries with
on the
anyone?
French fries? I don't share them at all
Yeah.
anymore because of that last
I know.
dickhead.
I got
Who
yelled at
hurt
one
you?
time. I got yelled at one time because I was I was in Korea, and we went to a fast food restaurant, and I just like, had my fries and my burger, and I poured some ketchup for myself, and they got very angry because I didn't have my French fries communist style with them.
Oh
Because
yeah.
in Korea, you're supposed to put all the fries in the middle, and then you
Oh, yeah.
put the
Yeah,
ketchup.
see, that's a dangerous situation. What if one person decides to ketchup all over those fries?
Oh, I would flip the table.
You would be within your rights, sir.
Into my mouth.
I would flip the table, and all the French fries would comedically land in my mouth.
Yeah. So is wasabi is that a condiment? They're talking about wasabi in the chat.
I think
I
it's a
don't
condiment.
think the way you use it
I'm
is
a
a condiment. I
condiment-
think it's an ingredient.
I'm not a condiment purist. I'm like a liberal with my condiments.
With your,
I think a condiment. I would say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I don't care if anyone disagrees with me.
Oh,
I
boy,
just
here
made
it
up my
comes.
mind.
Okay, everybody wait.
Salt
surprise.
and pepper.
Let's do it.
Salt and pepper are condiments. Salt and
No,
pepper
you're
are
wrong.
condiments to me, because to me, a condiment is something that you can do whatever you have freedom. It's on the table, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can shake it.
Kind of what
You
you
can
guys are.
dip it.
Yeah, kind of
You
the
can
difference
squirt
between
it.
it's a form versus function a debate, right? Ryan seems to think that it's
Ryan's-
the form of the condiment that matters.
Well,
And-
Ryan seems to me to be rigidly like indoctrinated by cultural norms.
Ryan seems to you like someone trying to answer the question.
Yeah, but you're basing your answer on your cultural biases and
No,
and
because like
tradition.
even when you gave me the other one, like
traditionally.
when you had the lime in there, it becomes like a dip. But if you poured it on something, I would
So
call
if
it a
I take
condiment.
salt and I pour it in a bowl and then I squirt
Put lime in
juice
there?
in it, it's suddenly a condiment.
I would say yes.
Is it because
It's
salt
like
is
something
too
that people-
simple? It's like an element. Does a condiment
Because-
have to be a molecule of
I
seasoning?
do think condiments usually have condiments do have more to it to just like one like mineral. Yeah.
What about ground up chili pepper? Like
I
red
mean-
pepper flakes, for instance. If you're eating spaghetti and you
I
have the red
think
pepper
red
flakes,
pepper flakes are condiment and they don't have the liquid, so you got me there finally.
See, it's all cultural.
It's all talking until
cultural
you get your way.
brainwashing.
So that's the title of EJ's self-help book. It's all talk.
Condiments are cultural brainwashing.
It's all talking till you get your way.
That's
all right.
my next viral video.
Yeah, let's do this.
We've discovered
Get an
nothing.
answer.
You know, kind of a share.
I hate this show.
All right,
Marking
I
that
wrote
one
this
for
topic.
Clipping out later.
I wrote this topic 2 weeks ago, and honestly, I forgot what my topic was until I just read it, and I don't know how we're going to talk about this.
We can talk
So
about
here's
it
the
for
first.
as
I
long
can
or as little
transition
as you want.
I can
You can
transition
explain
like
what a
this.
soy boy is, because
Is
that's
soy sauce is soy sauce a condiment?
yeah.
I presupposed that it was, so that we could talk about this.
I feel this is a good question because I don't feel like I've ever had soy sauce in its natural form. Like I always augment it somehow. You know, like I add wasabi to it, for example, in the case, speaking of wasabi, or, well, no, I guess
I'll put soy sauce right on my rice.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was going to say. I do
so.
put it on rice directly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As Kiersey Boo says, condiments are surprisingly metaphysical. That's true.
That's the truest statement that's been said about condiments so far.
All right. Let's just assume that soy sauce is a condiment so that we can talk about what I want to talk about today.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Thank you.
This is function preceding form.
Yes, EJ, soy sauce is a condiment.
Oh, great. So now I can talk about soy boy.
You're a soy boy,
You're a
right?
bunch of soy boys. Well,
we're all soy boys.
So I read this in the notes about soy boys. What the heck is
Let us do our bit.
So here's the deal. Okay, this is some bullshit. I'm taking you down a road of bullshit. So
it is
I think we talked last episode about Jordan Peterson and like this whole like weird alt-right. So you know, like they have this whole like red pill men's rights, men going their own way. They call it the manosphere. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are a bunch of guys who are just
not
like
a man of war,
completely
or
out
the
of
manosphere,
touch with reality,
like Shadowrun fans would know. Anyway, sorry. This is a really niche joke.
We got frisky at the beginning of the episode, and like it's just kind of like all downhill. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So listen. So the manosphere have all these like bizarre pseudoscientific beliefs, right? It's basically just like green ink. It's a bunch of bizarre pseudoscience, right?
And stuff we've talked about before. Yeah.
They do shit like they'll measure skulls and stuff to like and so incels are a part of it too. They'll like measure their faces and stuff to try to figure out like why they can't have sex with women when it's probably just because they're
but not like
terrible
Ferentology, like the classic version of
no,
that.
it is like that. It's like phrenology. It's like they literally measure skulls and stuff. It's weird. So one of the things they have is this crackpot theory, which is completely debunked by science, that soy protein like makes people effeminate, makes men effeminate specifically. So the fact is that like if you drink a lot of soy milk, it will make you like more effeminate, and it'll make you more of like a beta cuck or whatever, you know? So anyway, so they have this term soy boy, which they basically use for any male person that they find weak or like soft or whatever.
So the implication obviously being that they must have consumed too much soy.
I mean, it's,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just
but it's also
is there like a chemical,
so it's like not red meat.
Do they have a scientific like plausible
Oh,
explanation?
there's some bullshit study about it. I mean, you can look into this stuff. There was some shit tier study that was like kind of like tangentially linking soy consumption to like estrogen or something. And of course they just took that and ran with it. It's very similar. I think we talked about this in the past about the NPC thing. Yeah, these are the same. This is the same circles that you know, they run in the same circles as the people who say that like people who don't have an internal monologue are quote unquote NPCs. It is a circle of jerks. It's literally a circle of jerks. And a member of it would be a circle jerk. No, okay, so it's the same kind of pseudoscience, right? Like they take one little like partial nugget of sort of truth, and then they just like lead to all these horrible conclusions that like, oh, then you're a soy boy, and it's just become this like horrible meme. So I thought I would use that as an excuse for us to talk a little bit about toxic masculinity and this aspect of our culture and the whole thing about like, I'm sure you're familiar with like the whole alpha male, beta male thing, which is also pseudoscience, by the way.
80s, 90s classicism, which is like, alpha male and stuff like that, and jocks and nerds and stuff like that. That kind of like Revenge of the Nerds is a good example where you just kind of have this like thing. You're like, oh, that's normal until you watch it now. You're like, oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, the Revenge of the Nerds has a lot of problems. If you watch it today, it's not as lighthearted romp as we thought it was. So like the alpha male thing is another great example because it's complete garbage pseudoscience. So like there was this biologist researcher who observed wolves and incorrectly came to all these conclusions about like wolf social hierarchy. And then even that very same researcher later admitted that like, I think it was a man, was wrong about everything. But it's all this like bullshit pseudoscience, but people take it, and people like Jordan Peterson because Jordan Peterson's all about like, we have social hierarchies because lobsters, Jordan Peterson's obsessed with lobsters because lobsters have all these social hierarchies, and we like have
lobsters because lobsters the like paragons of social
human activity.
Yeah.
The missing link, as it would be, yes.
That's his whole thing.
Roach
Like,
to the sea
we have a
denizens.
common ancestor with lobsters, and so it's a fair comparison to make.
What the fark? Like, we have a common ancestor
bullshit
with everything, Mr. Peterson. So.
And this guy's a doctor of like psychotherapy, so it's really bullshit.
Shit.
Yeah.
Got him.
I'm kind of surprised, Bobby, that you don't know more about Jordan Peterson because it's a gold mine of just cringy bullshit. So anyway,
continue.
So there's this whole thing. Okay, so toxic masculinity, for people who are not familiar with it, so it gets misinterpreted a lot. So a lot of people think that it means like masculinity is toxic, right? So it's like it's bad to be a man, it's bad to be masculine. That's not what that means at all, because there's this adjective, toxic. It's a qualifier. It changes, it specifies what we're talking about. We're talking about the toxic aspects of the masculine gender role in society. Are you too familiar with this at all, or am I like? Is this
I just want to know
where
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I know what you are.
Okay. So, and toxic masculinity is obviously nothing new. It's just that we're discussing it now in ways we didn't. Well, feminists have been discussing it for decades, but like it's just now starting to become like a common knowledge thing. So, so here's another. This is relevant and topical and news of note. So, and it even relates to Jordan Peterson. Gillette did that whole like campaign where they were like, be a real man and like be nice. It was just this commercial where like,
what?
Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen?
You actually had an accurate reaction though.
Yeah.
To
so the
story.
boys are fighting, and the dad's like, "Hey, stop fighting!"
Mm-hmm.
So of course the alpha male manosphere just like mercilessly ridiculed this. To me, it was just like nothing. It was like a puffy.
Yeah, it was definitely
jerking your emotion.
Whatever
kind of
ad.
commercial.
Yeah. I believe it was during the Super Bowl.
They were like, "Oh, the world is cucks now. Even Gillette razor is a bunch of beta cucks, and they care about people."
I don't have to be nice because I'm a man.
Now do that unironically, and you got it.
Well, there's this headline that came out that was like, Gillette became a woke brand, and they lost $8 billion in market share. Right now, here's the thing: they didn't lose fucking $8 billion because of that commercial. For one thing, that commercial was only really aired in like the Anglosphere, and Gillette is a global business. They sell razors everywhere, and most of the world doesn't even know that commercial ever happened. The reason that they lost the money was because there's like something to do with like fiduciary shrinkage, like the value of the money that they had just like shrank.
Also,
which had absolutely nothing
everyone
to do with
has a
operation.
beard now.
Right, that's the other thing. That's exactly what it is. So like beards are really popular now, so people are buying less razors, right? It has fuck all to do with that commercial. But Jordan Peterson linked to this headline and oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to read the tweet because the way that Jordan Peterson talked about it is the specific quote is just awful. Okay. He says, "The punishment of natural consequences," and he links to this article. What does that mean? The punishment of natural consequences?
The punishment.
It's like something that what does that mean?
I don't know.
The punishment of natural consequences
is a consequence or what?
Is there such a thing as an unnatural consequence?
I
I mean, is there a consequence? Because like nature's all about cause and effect, right?
Yes. I'm trying to think of an
Could you have
unnatural consequence.
An unnatural consequence would be like magic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would have to break the cause and effect chain.
Like I spill something, then a Sasquatch hits me.
A beef jerky ad.
Yeah.
Yes,
A beef jerky
if
ad
you
would
will.
be an unnatural consequence.
Right.
Oh, by the way, we talked about the beef jerky stuff, right? About how they're made for jerks.
No,
Was that-
but
did I have that
also those are
conversation with somebody
natural
else?
consequences because they make fun of the Sasquatch and then they get hit. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? Come on.
Right. I had a conversation with somebody about how all beef jerky ads are just designed for assholes. Or was
No.
that even something I watched? I don't even know. My mind is a terrible place. Okay, anyway. So toxic masculinity. Here's what I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Is just like when we were kids, all right, because we all grew up together, we absolutely had like all kinds of problems with toxic masculinity.
Yes,
You know?
like
And so that
we
means,
had problems with it. Yes.
Yeah, specifically the three of us, right?
Mhm.
In fact, I would say Ryan probably had the least amount of toxic masculinity. I don't know. Would you agree with that?
I was kind of a
Like
awful
it didn't
person
feel like
to
you
some
had much to
people.
prove back then. Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? You just kind of went with the flow. You were more zen than we were.
Maybe, but I
I
doubt
remember one
it.
time specifically, this is embarrassing, Bobby, for both of us.
Okay,
I'm going to tell an embarrassing
do it.
story
Do
about
it.
both of
Let's
us.
do it.
All right.
Is this when
One
you
time.
guys tossed me underneath the proverbial trailer?
Oh, no, that was a different embarrassing story. So we were in college, actually. So we were definitely like probably old enough to be better
know
than this.
better.
But we were in college and we were in this dorm room. We were like hanging out in our dorm room. And that girl, Natasha, came in and she said something. And she alluded to the fact that like I was the alpha male of our group. And then Bobby was like, no, I'm the alpha male. And then for like weeks after, we were like feuding about who was the alpha male.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that? It's
Yeah.
definitely happened.
No.
And Bobby and I were both equal.
Oh, I completely believe you. I just
We were
right
like
out.
we were like we were competing like in social situations.
It was
were
a meta
competing-
competition.
Yeah, we were like trying to tell funnier jokes. We were trying to know more people, get people's attention. It
That's
bled
so
into like
tiring.
because we shared a dorm room, so we'd be like trying to one up each other, you know.
Even like it one on
But in
mano
like
a
stupid
mano.
ways, like I'm gonna take a really long shower so that you don't get to take a shower before you go to class because I'm the alpha male and I do what I want.
I hate it.
So yeah, we definitely had issues with that. And I mean, so another question is like, I guess Bobby, I wanted to ask you because you have kids, like,
Yeah.
because toxic masculinity has a lot to do with like forced gender roles, right? So like, because I think we all suffered also a lot because of toxic masculinity as kids. Because one thing is that like you can't be as like expressive or open with your emotions if you're a man. Like culturally, we're expected to be more taciturn. You know, affection is like looked down upon. We definitely used the word gay pejoratively a lot.
Yeah. I'll
I'll
cop to that for sure.
Yeah. So like, I'm wondering like as a parent, I mean, I know you have like girls, but like, what are your thoughts on this? Like this, you know, raising your kids and like when it comes to gender roles and masculinity and femininity.
Me and my wife Stephanie, we talk about that a lot actually, and we've talked about it since before we had kids, how we were going to approach that. And obviously, I think it's safe to say, obviously, amongst us and our audience, obviously, we were of the opinion that we did not want to force gender roles on our children. And I feel like we have come to the point where we try to, again, like you just said, I have two daughters. We sort of try to like compensate, overcompensate in some ways because we know that the world around them is going to impose feminine gender roles on them. So we try pretty hard to expose them in the house to the idea. To other stereotypically boy stuff, you know, like I definitely get excited when they want to play with dinosaurs and cars more than I get excited when they want to play, but we don't care.
No, like I know your daughters have like this really awesome dollhouse, for instance, which by the way, when I was a little boy, I always wanted like an awesome dollhouse. I was obsessed with them.
Like
And
the
like every
open
time
it
I went
up
to
and
like
you can see inside kind of thing.
yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
so-
dollhouses were fucking cool.
Yeah,
They're like
I
little
did too.
houses, dude.
Yeah, they're houses. They're awesome, and people like make them, and I thought that was really cool
Yeah.
too. Like making tiny little decorations for them. I wanted to do stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Right, right.
But I didn't.
But I
because
had to pretend I didn't.
Yeah.
But when I would go and visit like my female cousin's house or whatever, and they had a dollhouse, I would always like secretly play with it and stuff. And like, why should I have to hide that? It's so bizarre. But anyway, yeah, it's also worth noting that you're a stay-at-home dad, which I think is germane to this conversation. And I
Yeah,
know you
that's
get a lot of
true, yeah.
shit for it.
Not as much as I used to, but I definitely have over time gotten. And it's not direct. It's always like passive aggressive kind of stuff.
Right.
Like
But even like your family, you were saying.
Yeah, like family, like grandparents or parents will be like, so when are you gonna go back to work, and when's Stephanie gonna come, like, and they're seriously asking this question, when is Stephanie going to stay at home and you go back to work and everything. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. Like
right.
Get over it.
Right.
But no, we definitely think about that a lot. I think about it a lot more than Stephanie does, because Stephanie's a lot more like let them, like, we're just gonna let them figure it out, and they'll do what they do. But I'm a lot more like defending the world that they live in from all of the forced gender roles that externally are coming on them. Like, I'll go through their clothes and I'll be like Stephanie, we need to make a trip to the store. There's like a 60% pink shirts now, and you know, like I'm always thinking about stuff like that, and so yes. So long story short, I think about that a lot, and it's
that makes sense.
And I guess like the last, well, I have a follow up from the comments, but I want to ask Ryan just first, like because I think me and Bobby have been kind of monopolizing the conversation. What are your thoughts on this whole?
I've been talking
do you
to
have
chat,
any?
so
Okay, yeah. Do you have any like thoughts on the subject that even specifically about like when we were kids or anything, any observations or anything like that?
Not explicitly, because like, yeah, toxic masculinity is a weird thing we talked about before, where like some of the thoughts of like, I deserve to have the state give me a girlfriend and stuff like that.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah,
like
the whole
way out there.
Incel thing. Yeah.
And it's just I was talking in the chat about it, and how basically it's being mindful of your habits and expectations, knowing, for instance, we were talking about opening the door. Opening the door is kind of expected in the Southeast where we live and grew up.
Right. And it's
But
like
if you do it in a major city, you're kind of doing a
for
faux
everybody
pas.
though.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's also a genteel kind of thing though, where like you especially open a door for a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, like, for sure. But like when my mom was raising me, like, and she's very Southern,
Mhm.
you know, my grandma would say like, get the door for a lady, but my mom would just be like, get the door for anyone. You know, like, just if somebody's going into a building, like, just don't be an asshole and let the door close on them, basically.
Whereas Stephanie, when we met her, we were going to high school with her. She would get mad when you held the door open for her, because she doesn't need you to hold the door open for her.
Right. Yeah. That does lead to some friction. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of an expected thing in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's basically, hey, you're demeaning me by opening the door for me, especially. I'm capable. I have hands.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's true. I mean, I think that in my perfect society, everyone would just kind of get the door for everybody, like, and it wouldn't have anything to do with the gender. It's bizarre that that's
opening it, hold it open, whatever. Yeah, it's not necessarily open the door like a grand whole
Oh
thing.
yeah, no, you shouldn't be performative about door opening. You shouldn't act like you're some kind of fucking superhero. Excuse me, like tipping your fedora and like flourishing and bowing and scraping and like, yes, marvel and amazement as I open
I'm a
this
professional
door.
doorman on my spare time.
Oh, I've held this door open for you at great expense. There are many things I could have. Yeah, there are many things I could have been doing instead of holding this door.
Do you feel encouraged to copulate with me?
Yes.
Speaking of, okay, this is my last. Oh,
okay.
Anything else, Ryan? Sorry.
Well, I was gonna pull up this point in the chat to talk about it briefly, because I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. If that's what you're gonna do, go ahead.
It might be the same thing. I'm sure it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Read it.
Oh, I'm doing it. I was waiting to you. Okay.
Well, I'm testing to see if it's the same thing. It's a test.
I don't like being
It's a test
tested
of
by you.
mind
Okay,
shares.
fine, I'm in shush. I'll do it. Okay, I'm going to now. I get the right one. Toxic masculinity works like a cycle. Toxic men
Yes, that's
sadly
the one
get
I was
more
gonna
women.
read.
Shut up, I'm reading.
Okay, sorry. Read it again. Read it again. Sorry.
Toxic masculinity works like a cycle. Toxic men sadly get more women due to them being seen as confident and dominant. Thoughts?
I could not disagree with that more. I could not disagree with that more because I was a fucking toxic asshole for most of my life, like well into my mid to late 20s for sure.
You can tell he
like
said it like a late
misogynistic.
90s character in an awful show. Asshole.
Asshole. That was me. Like, and I think you two can attest to that. Like, I was misogynistic. Like, of our group, I was the most like flamboyantly misogynistic. I was just an asshole, right? I really was, and I was toxic as shit.
Sure, yeah.
And I was all into like gender. I don't know. Like, I was all fucked up, and it was in all the ways that you'd think. But as soon as I started to be more like to divest myself of that toxicity and just be more literally like more sensitive and more open with my feelings and more
right,
because I used to be like super
there's a lot of layers to this, right?
Mhm.
First of all, toxic masculinity is not synonymous with confidence, first of all.
Sure, yeah.
So that's the first layer to unpack. I think confidence is attractive. So if all you're talking about is confidence, then yeah, that's an attractive quality, I think, in people for a lot of people, and it's not necessarily anyway. But my question to you would be to mine into this particular labyrinth of a question is while you were being toxic back then, were you confident? Because maybe not.
No.
You know?
No, that's the thing. That's what I would say that toxic masculinity is rooted in false confidence. Sure. Or the appearance of confidence and actually when you're actually expected to bury and hide a lot. I think that like when you bury your emotions and you're afraid to show affection for people and you're afraid to look like a weakling because you might have feelings, for instance, I think that is like cowardice, honestly. I think
Sure.
it takes a lot more confidence and bravery to be in touch with your emotions and to be kind. I think kindness requires bravery in our culture and our society.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for men where we're expected to be kind of like individualistic.
Yeah,
and
there's a big cultural
self-serving.
norm there where you're not supposed to show your feelings, especially as a dude, much less as even as a young child. You're supposed to suck it up.
Exactly. And when I was really toxic and like really in that masculine mindset where I felt like, and I thought women wanted an alpha man, somebody who's going to be like a protector and a blah, 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 which, I mean, like, I think everybody to some extent wants somebody who can be like protective and like everybody wants security, men and like all genders want, like I think those are, like Bobby was saying, attractive qualities for anybody. But, when I had this like hyper masculine mindset where I thought I was going to be like the knight in shining armor that was going to be, the protector and blah, 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 the defender. And when I was like that, it was so much harder for me to get second dates. I never really had a lot of problem getting first dates, right? But like I had a hard time getting into relationships. And I think it's because I was completely fucking obnoxious to women. And I think that, and it's not just because they're women. I think all people, generally speaking, don't want that kind of obnoxious person to be in a relationship with.
It's a perversion of faking it till you make it, if you will. We're like,
exactly.
It's not necessarily bad to do that, but in certain contexts, it's grating, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. And like the more confident I became with my actual self, the person that I was trying to hide from the world for most of my life, the more the more success I had like getting into relationships that were actually like good, healthy, strong relationships. So and I know for a fact that like my current partner and comrade Luna would never have fucking spoken to me like 10 years ago when I was really deep into that toxicity. So I have to push hard back against that. I don't think, I mean, yeah, sure. There are toxic people who get into toxic relationships, but I don't think that like kindness and sensitivity will inhibit people from having relationships. And I don't believe in the whole like nice guys can't get girls thing. I think that's bullshit. I think most people who think that they are being nice guys and think that that's true are probably actually being toxic in various ways. And there's plenty of evidence for that. Like it's very easy to find those threads where people are sharing like interactions they've had on Tinder where guys are like, I'm a nice guy, why won't you fuck me? Like it's just, it's in a lot of cases, the niceness is actually affectation that's wrapped around a man simply viewing women as like objects to be possessed. And that's the problem.
Or to be more charitable, like trying and not getting the point that like expectation and putting expectations upon other people doesn't necessarily mean that those are going to be fulfilled. There's no self-fulfilling prophecy in there. It's actually making a point to come to a dialectic, to use one of those stupid words, and actually talk to people.
Oh yeah. And I would say this, the last thing I guess I'll say about this is like relationships should not be pressure cookers. Like they should be slow cookers, and you should never, like, pressure is always going to be a bad thing. It's always going to inhibit you. If you put pressure on yourself, like I gotta get a girlfriend, I gotta get laid, whatever. That's gonna just give you a lot of anxiety and erode your confidence, like Bobby was talking about. And also, if you put a lot of pressure on whoever you're trying to date, whatever gender they are, that's gonna just be a disaster. That's never gonna work out well for you. So just like take off the pressure and just try to meet people. And I love this. This is the best advice anybody's ever given me, is just like, when you go on a date with somebody, like consider that, you might just end up being friends, and that would be okay. You could just go on a date with somebody and then they might want to be your friend, or you might want to be their friend. And then you can actually just be friends. You don't have to get married, just because you went on a date with somebody. So I don't know. I guess that's all I got to say about that.
Makes you.
Yeah. That's right.
Again, that would be a weird but awesome video game.
Yeah. I mean, it's my
life.
life.
Ice-T dating them, but you're not dating Ice-T. Ice-T.
He said my name several times, EJ.
Was that a formative experience?
Everybody, do the robot.
You know what does do well under pressure is pork, and I've cooked barbecue that way before. You put pork in a pressure cooker, and then slather on some barbecue sauce on that mother. And
this is such a tone shift. I'm not even ready.
Oink, oink.
Okay. I'm not going to argue about barbecue sauce being a condiment or not, because it can be and it can't be. It's both a condiment and not a condiment. It can be an ingredient.
Yeah.
It's often an ingredient depending on what kind of barbecue you're doing. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the it's I lost it. Continue.
It's a versatile.
This is something I learned forever and ever ago, but like South Carolina is one of the only, it's the only state that has 4 different variations on barbecue sauce. So we do the pulled pork kind of, then you add the sauce variety, which is the oldest variety of barbecue.
Let's be clear to everyone around the world who's listening all over the world, that
you just said that twice.
When we say barbecue sauce here in South Carolina, we're talking about specifically pulled pork barbecue, the only barbecue. But continue.
In the U.S., there's that style, which is the Carolinas in general. Then there's Kansas City, which is more of like a sweeter mesquite kind of barbecue sauce. There's Memphis, which I can't remember if it's dry. And then Texas is like brisket is like their kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they have like 4 different styles in Texas, but it's all different kind of like variations of just like the sauce. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about South Carolina.
Yeah.
So we have the big thing that we have that's weird is mustard based sauce, because we had a lot of German immigrants.
It's called Carolina Gold.
It very often is Carolina Gold. Yep.
That's right.
But then we also have, from like coming in from Georgia, the heavy tomato kind of like sweet sauce. And then from North Carolina, we have the lighter tomato, and then we have the vinegar pepper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they all just kind of like slam against each other into different regional preferences.
Yeah, there was
except for South Carolina.
Well, no, in South Carolina, They have, I heard geography. Yeah.
You better. Are you disassociating yourself from the great
I'm
state
as
of South Carolina?
as it comes. We have the barbecue belts in South Carolina. Although the map that Ryan is showing does not depict them as belts.
No.
But I read I was in a geography class that we had to read a paper that was all about the barbecue belts of South Carolina. And like you said, there are 4 different types, but 2 of them, they talk about 3 different types because 2 of them are just 2 different like variations on a tomato sauce.
Whatever, get out of here. I give up.
And then so you've got like the mustard based barbecue sauce, the tomato based, and then the vinegar based one. And I always found it so fascinating that there's such stark regions, and it holds true. Like it really does. You talk to people who grew up in these parts of South Carolina, and those are the ones that they know. Is those particular regions?
Low country versus Piedmont. Yeah.
Like I always experienced that. Generally speaking, all 3 options were available at most barbecue restaurants I went to.
Yeah, but some people were. But if you go to a barbecue restaurant on the coast versus a barbecue restaurant up at the Blue Ridge Mountains, like one, they're gonna have very different empty sauce
that's
buckets.
true. Yeah, there will be preferences for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing about South Carolina that's unique is that we have all 3.
That's true.
4. But
because like in every other state in the union, dad burn it. They have like much more like Georgia. I don't remember which one Georgia favors. Was it vinegar?
It's the heavy red.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like you'll find mostly just heavy red. And the thing is, I think it's formative to me that we've always had 3 available in South Carolina because I very much like having all 3 available. I feel very restricted and unhappy when I only have one sauce available.
I am a mustard-based barbecue sauce. I love the Carolina Gold.
Pepper vinegar.
So if you had Carolina Gold and a mustard and a vinegar, you would
I go for the gold, Carolina Gold every time.
Every time, exclusively.
Yes.
Exclusively.
Yes.
I would switch up depending.
We're very different.
Now I will eat. Of course, I love barbecue. I'll eat all kinds of barbecue.
But if you have 3 available, you'll only go with the gold.
Yeah. No variety.
Okay.
I'm a variety.
I'm a varieteer.
Yeah.
So did you know? Okay, a couple little fast facts. There's a really good barbecue restaurant in Saigon, Vietnam called Oot Oot, which is the sound that a pig makes in Vietnamese, which is a cute name.
OOT?
But it's UTUT with uptone.
Oot Oot.
So I highly recommend people go there. And it was started by a group of Southerners, including one guy who's from South Carolina, and they have a Carolina Gold barbecue sauce in Saigon, Vietnam. It's very good, and they have really the best ribs I've ever had in my entire life. The best Southern style ribs are in Southern Vietnam. That's a fact, Jack. You can take that to the bank with you.
So like,
but
it's most famous. Oh, I'm gonna go first. It's most famous in like North Carolina, and they're like, everyone talks about North Carolina and it's being from there, but like ostensibly it's from further south, if not South Carolina. Then it's pulled up from like the island nations, where they would put up these big like platforms of green wood and put the pork on top of it, so it would burn less. So you would get green wood because like it would burn less and it would allow it to burn longer. And then I think it was the Spanish and them kind of came up with the idea of using the pigs in particular. And it kind of is.
Isn't that where we get the word like buccaneer from? Is like barbecue pork? I think I've heard that.
I'm not sure because I know barbecue. I learned today that barbecue comes from. Let me find out really quick. It is not from French barbecue, like BARBEQ, like in a queue in a line. But from a New World Spanish expression, barbacoa or barbacoa,
Yeah.
itself
This has
taken
to do
from the
with pirates.
Arawak language, which was something like wooden support beam, which is what I was talking about, where they're building it up.
Fascinating.
And there's like there's old pictures of it too, where it's like they're putting like small animals on there, but like Much later on, you see like the big pigs that were brought over.
So oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say was, did you know that there is a mythical, I just discovered this, additional barbecue sauce from the South?
What?
The Tennessee white sauce is a mayonnaise based.
I know this. Yeah.
Huh.
I never had it
Sauce.
though.
Never heard of it until like last year.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I never had it. I remember. I don't know when I heard about it, but definitely.
I don't know if it's like, is it? I don't know if it's a new thing.
No,
Let's
it's not
see.
a new thing. I don't know how old it is, but I've definitely heard of it before.
That seems
Oh,
weird.
Alabama white sauce. I must submit a correction.
It's like,
and I'm surprised I never heard of it because my grandpa's from Alabama. So mayo, white
Tuscaloosa?
vinegar. Oh, it also has mustard and horseradish. Man, this is complicated as recipe. So
yeah, like-
Alabama white.
I just think it's interesting that we have the 4 different variations in our state. Also, our state has like a weird geography in any case, where like we have a very our fall line sand dunes kind of straight up down the middle, and we have a bunch of little weird peats and bogs. We all learned about this in Rudy Mankey's class.
Yeah.
We did.
It's because of change in sea levels.
Good job.
And there's nothing right or wrong about nature.
You said that right.
Flowers just love to have sex in public.
Yeah.
But we have carnivorous plants too, which is unusual.
Yeah. The Venus flytrap is native only to South Carolina.
Yeah. The Myrtle Beach area.
Only? I didn't remember that. Huh.
Yeah. So there's a little Shop of Horrors fan fiction idea for you.
Yeah.
The origin story. He's actually a southern boy. He should be like, feed me, Seymour.
Instead of a meteorite, it's just kind of like got dumped out of a truck.
I thought it did have a sort of southern accent. I detect that.
I don't know. Are you talking about the classic black and white film, which they shot in 1 week? Did you know that the original Little Shop of Horrors they shot in 1 week?
No, I'm talking about the
Rick Moranis one.
Yeah, the Rick Moranis.
Wasn't Rick Moranis in that?
Yep.
Darcy? No, Darcy
Steve
2,
Martin?
something. What was the name of the plant? Something 2. Darcy? No, doesn't matter.
Hey, Javi, aka Cuñado de Izquierdas. The Venus flytrap is not disappointing. Okay.
Right,
but
it's kind of disappointing. But
I did own one when I was a kid, and they really aren't supposed to eat insects that much. So like we would catch flies and
did you force feed the Venus flytrap?
Well, we overfed them, and they die very quickly if you do that. So we would because we just wanted to watch it eat the fly. So we would go catch a fly. And
why else do you get a Venus flytrap? Right.
Yeah, but you're really not supposed to do that. It's like once a month or something ridiculous like that. We would do it like 3 times a day, and it died after like 2 days.
What do they expect you to do, though? Really?
But why does it die? Why can't it spit it out? That's a fault of evolution. That's the disappointing thing about the
Because they don't have brains.
No. Oh, also they don't have people feeding them.
Infinite flies.
Yeah, they don't consume infinite flies.
They can.
Also, it's Audrey too.
They also eat plumbers.
Yeah, I saw that. That's confirmed.
Okay.
The red ones spit fireballs.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
That's the Mushroom Kingdom flytrap, by the way, not the Venus flytrap.
That's my ringtone. Mario going for a tube.
All right, so that's it for the show tonight. As you know, this week's theme was condiments.
Denim.
If you want to vote on what the show's future themes are going to be, you're going to need to head on over to our Discord server where we'll have the poll up. Also on Twitter. At JBYC show. We'll put it there. Next week's theme has already been decided by the community, and it's going to be. Get ready. Oh, is Cadme even in the chat room? It's gonna be beans.
There's no Beans, and Cadme's not here.
Oh my gosh.
I guess we'll have to pick a different one.
Yeah.
So dismayed.
We'll just have to pick a different one. No, this will teach them not to miss another show. It's gonna be beans. So send us your news stories, topics, prompts, anything you want to talk about having to do with that theme. And you know that we aren't the ones who decide the topics to be voted on for the show. It's who decides? Who decides?
You decide.
That's right. Our after party chat picks all the items that go on the poll that we put up, and everyone votes for the theme. So if you want to get something on that poll, like clouds or poles, or beans, then you wanna come and hang out for the after party at our live show. You can find our email and Twitter at jbyc.net, which is live. Watch us live on, I can't read. Watch us live on YouTube at youtube.com/JBYC show every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, or listen to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. From me, Bobby, from Ryan, and from The Edge, thank you guys for listening and watching, and stick around for the after party if you're here for the live show. See you soon. See you soon.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Hey, thank you. Love you. Goodbye.
It's a creepy.
Yeah, I really don't like that.
What's happening here? Here we go. That's what we need right here.